Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being patient. Okay, we'll go right into the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Up first, we have Aaron Abeline from Suburban Engineering going to do a presentation on a change of use hearing for Green Acres regarding Foschini Park.
Okay, I think we have to open it as a public hearing, right? Don't have to do something.
Yeah, after the
We're good?
presentation, we'll open the public comment.
That's fine?
Yeah.
We don't have to
No, because we're in the middle of a
session?
public, it's in a public meeting, so.
Okay.
But we do definitely have to open for public comment after you're done.
Separate from the 3 minutes that people will have to speak
Yeah,
about any
right,
topic.
yeah,
This will
right.
be a separate public session.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys very much. Good evening. So we're here tonight to talk about Foschini Park and a Green Acres change in use. So this is required as part of the Green Acres program when any local government unit wants to change a recreation and conservation purpose to another conservation and recreation purpose. In today's case, the reason we're having this is because of buildings. So maintenance building, a concession building with press box, and restrooms, another press box. So that's the reason why we have to do this. Nothing to do with the fields themselves. I want to note that there's no loss in parkland as part of this application, so there's no diversion, there's absolutely no loss in parkland. It's just a requirement by Green Acres when you put a building on a park. All right, next slide, please, Frank. So just to put on record some existing conditions for the park. Foschini Park is 30.83 acres. It includes 9 baseball/softball fields, batting cages, picnic tables, benches, playgrounds, field house building, a maintenance building, paved access road, parking spaces, parking lots. And then I want to talk about the proposed Foschini Park. So again, we're really just here tonight talking about those buildings, but what is proposed at Foschini Park, important to note, again, it's remaining 30.83 acres. It includes 9 baseball and softball fields, 1 multi-purpose field, a full-size football field, batting cages, picnic tables, benches, playgrounds, existing field house building will remain, a new maintenance building, new concession stand with restrooms, a new press box, and paved access roads and paved parking lots. Next slide, please. So just as part of this, I need to show some representative elevations and floor plans for these buildings. So what we're looking at now is a representative elevation of the maintenance building. It's really just a pretty standard maintenance building, I'll say, but larger than what's there now. This has to support park operations only. Next slide. This is a floor plan. Again, just seeing it's purely a maintenance building that would be incorporated. This is a representation of the proposed concession stand with restrooms and a press box. So this is approximately what that would look like. And then the next slide shows some floor plans. All right, next slide. All right, so I'm just gonna go through what we needed to do to be in compliance with the change in use per Green Acres. So I'm just gonna check off the list here. To date, we've provided notice of this hearing on the city website. It's important to note that this was originally going to be last month, but with the weather, it got changed. So we re-noticed for this meeting. We provided the notice to Green Acres, to the city's planning board, to the city's environmental commission. Next slide, Frank, please. We posted signs at Foschini Park, 1 at each entrance, providing the notice of the proposed change in use, and we provided notice of this hearing to the official newspaper. After this hearing, we will provide all proof of these notices to Green Acres, and we will also provide a transcript to Green Acres. All right, so next slide. Comments will remain open for 2 weeks via email or phone, and the city can respond to them following that. And at this time, we can address any public comment at this meeting.
Okay. So I need a motion open to the public.
Excuse me.
Leon? Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody from the public? I see one person here. How are you?
Hi, good.
Good.
I'm Janet Wicca. I live at 178 Spring Valley Avenue in Hackensack. I'm on the Environmental Commission, Green Team, Garden Club, and I'm a big tree advocate. So I walked the park today, and I did a tree count, and I came up with approximately 60 trees that currently exist in the park. Then I went and studied the site plan. It looks like about 27 of those trees are going to be removed. And some of them are dead, I could tell, or diseased, so that makes sense. And then some of them are these ornamental trees that are kind of like worthless trees, kind of. They don't provide shade, they were just probably put there to look pretty. And so my question is, it's hard to figure if they're going to try to replace the trees with native trees that might provide shade in some of the areas, especially maybe the playground. There's no indication, I don't think, on replacement. So that's one of my questions. And the plants, I see that there's going to be some plants that are to help with the wetlands and stuff, and I assume, I couldn't find the plant list, but I assume they're going to be native and they're going to be, you know, drought tolerant and absorbent. And the tree list too, the trees, it would be wonderful if they're mostly big shade trees versus ornamental trees. And the last thing is I did the walk along the river, and I was shocked at the low level of the river, but it must have been low tide. But also, a lot of the trees along the river are dying or dead, and a lot of there's non-native, you know, it's called Japanese knot rope, these vines that smother the trees. So a lot of that area is filled with invasive species. And I remember the park from when my kids were little, and I think that if that can be addressed somehow, and I don't know if it's the city or the county, but I think the shoreline could use some work too, especially the trees. There's pretty much mostly dead trees.
I agree with that as far as, especially the shoreline.
Yeah.
I've been on that path a few times.
Yeah.
It's
I haven't been
You're looking at
there.
over the river, and it's like, you know, it's like all weeds and.
And dead.
So that's something we can look at. We're definitely gonna plant trees in the park, I know.
Yeah,
We're not gonna leave,
yeah, all right.
you know, as long as they don't interfere with obviously they're not gonna be on the field itself, field of play,
Yeah.
but certainly
But
around
where there
playgrounds
can
and
be
other
shade,
areas.
yeah.
Yeah, we need shade. Problem is, it's gonna take a while for those trees to mature enough to create shade,
Yeah. Well,
to start.
but Victoria's gave us a really nice deal on a fairly good-sized swamp white oak. I mean,
Right.
I think that there are some out, you know, you could probably mix in some pretty good-sized trees.
Right.
And the playgrounds, I saw that they're gonna be removed, but I didn't see any drawing of them being there.
There's still gonna be, I don't see the drawing, I think there's still gonna be some playgrounds up on the west end
Where they were?
where they were.
Yeah, Erin, can you put it back up?
Erin?
Yeah.
I don't know if they show it on there, but
Yeah, I don't think it shows them being
they're
replaced.
all the way back, there's a parking, I see parking spots there now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's gonna be, no, there's still gonna be playgrounds.
Oh, good, yeah,
Just,
for the
you
younger.
know, I don't know exactly where they're gonna be situated.
Yeah, as part of the hearing, I said that there will be proposed playgrounds.
Okay.
And I think it should be noted too that the one large tree, we worked around that was
Yeah,
a,
that
that was
came
really.
Yeah, there's some gorgeous
Yeah.
200-year-old trees there, a couple of them, which is really
Yeah.
nice that you're gonna save
Yes.
them, yeah.
And that was part of the
Is there
plan.
anything in your plan for replacement of some of these trees?
Yeah, if you want me to respond, was that your
sure.
comments? Sure. So the replacement trees were required to, and the city wants to. So
Okay.
the intent was to save as many trees as possible, especially those larger old trees that are in great condition.
Yeah,
It's difficult with the grading to save
Yeah.
all of them.
yeah.
So there was a great effort. The ones in the middle, the ones I believe that you're talking about,
Yeah.
are being saved. So you saw that, you saw the ones that are being
Around the
removed.
building, yeah, around the building.
So that was minimized, and that took quite a bit of effort and redesign to do. So that was minimized, and then Any tree that's removed will be replaced. So this project has to be approved by DEP, and mitigation
Yeah,
of tree removal is required.
yeah, and replaced with, you know, a shade tree versus an ornamental tree
Yeah.
that,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, that's what makes sense in this area.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that. And then as far as native species goes, that is required as well, and that's what we would recommend.
Oh, good, that sounds good. All right, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Anyone else from the public want to speak to this? Seeing no one, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Okay. Applicant?
Number 2 has been pulled. That was the ordinance regarding some recreation changes in fees. Number 3 is a resolution on tonight regarding risk management services. This is standard that we do each year. We're required by the ML to do this. Standard increase as has been for the past several years. Number 4 is a resolution regarding a 2024 revised shared service agreement with Teaneck Fire Department for dispatch services. That's just some changes in language for the dispatch agreement to take over Teaneck's Fire Department dispatch only. Number 5, Hackensack Municipal Alliance grant. And the number 6 is the CSO and Stormwater Parks update. I'll ask our city engineer, Chris Wheaton, to come forward.
Evening, everybody.
Evening.
Okay, this is your update on major city engineering and construction projects. Looking quickly at our status overview, nothing has changed, nothing major has changed on this table since our last meeting, so we can move on. As you know, the city's been working on a number of fronts to address combined sewer overflow within the city for a number of years now. The project that we're undertaking is the 6th project in recent history for combined sewer separation. This is the Anderson Street Drainage Area project, and it's going to add another 21 acres of stormwater diverted from our combined sewer system, and it follows these other projects that have been completed. So it represents, again, the city's commitment to resolving combined sewer overflows. The Anderson Street Drainage Area project runs just to the west of the New Jersey Transit Railroad. It includes Railroad Avenue as well as Clay Street, running all the way up the side streets to Stanley Place. The sewer replacements are presently occurring on James Street, and Veolia and PSE&G utility work is continuing in other locations where possible. And again, the coordination with the utility companies is a significant part of what's needed to implement this project, and I just want to acknowledge the good work that our contractor Mazzano, as well as our engineers Suburban, has been doing in terms of coordinating with the utilities to keep the project on track. Our next project is the FEMA Post-Ida Flood Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, aka the Green Street Project. Just to put it in I added this slide recently just so that you can put it in context of the areas that are planned for combined sewer separation that the city has already committed to. And then the new area is actually going to add about another 80 acres to the stormwater that will be diverted from the sewer system and conveyed to the river to mitigate overflows of the combined sewage. It will be implemented over about a 5-year or so period through a number of separate contracts for construction. The current contract that we've been discussing is the CCTV and base mapping project, which is gathering data as well as doing cleaning and televising of the sewer lines that will give us the information that we need for our preliminary design for the flood improvements. Again, the CCTV and base mapping project is is shown here. We're about about 3/4 of the way through the completion of cleaning and televising. And so we're on track with this project presently. We're also proceeding with the preliminary design and have recently had meetings with Bergen County Engineering, Bergen County Utilities Authority, County Executive Tedesco to review project alternatives and siting and coordinate on possible future opportunities for shared operation and maintenance of the facilities. I wanted to just touch briefly on South Newman Street area flooding. This is an area that we hear about frequently. As we know, it's a low-lying area. It's one of the lowest areas in town, very flat as well. It's confined in terms of drainage by railroad tracks on the east side and downstream hydraulics where it flows into water bodies to the south are also restrictive. And so the water has a hard time moving in this area. The area will see some improvement, some benefit from the projects that we're undertaking in the Green Street area, but it's not a complete solution. But the Green Street project will be diverting stormwater away from the Newman Street area. It also will be alleviating some bottlenecks that are present in the piping that the South Newman area drains into. So there will be some benefits, but it will not be a complete solution for the Newman Street area. So, and it's also, it's a multi-jurisdictional problem. As I've mentioned, we're confined by downstream hydraulics. So we've had limited conversations with South Hackensack, but it really is an item that requires a kind of a regional approach with these other municipalities. And so we have met also recently with Bergen County Engineering on this topic to explore the possibility of regional solutions for the South Newman area. Moving on to our parks, Carver Park project is very close. It's all the major elements in Carver Park have been completed. The concrete court, the fencing, backboard installation are complete. The light poles and the controls for the lighting have been installed. And essentially we're just waiting for warmer weather at this point to complete the court surfacing as well as landscaping and furniture installation. For Johnson Park Sports Complex, this is really going to be a great project, and we're getting very close to these bids being advertised. The project is going to include 4 mini or quarter-sized soccer fields. It will also include practice areas for baseball, the opportunity for flag football, other football activities, as well as possibility of a wrestling area in the future as part of a possible.
Excuse me, but the project itself is going to have one wrestling area dedicated just for wrestling. And the batting cages, they're going to be rolling to the soccer fields. You know, we're going to get to this type of like accordion batting cage that you can extend in the field and the way the kid can practice.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that clarification, Councilman. Our last park project presently is the Polyfly Park drainage improvements. As you're all aware, there's very steep slopes in portions of Polyfly Park, and the drainage has caused problems with some of the park amenities where stormwater collects and makes them unfavorable for use. So this project has been, we have not broken ground yet on this project, as we've been reworking a few things in terms to avoid some tree removal, but we will be getting started soon, and this project should be completed relatively quickly in April or early May. For the city offices that are underway at John Earl, this is a future home of our building and zoning departments. The renovation is ongoing. Major concrete work is completed. The interior walls are being finished, and the mechanical and electrical and plumbing work is in progress. And as you can see, we have 2 new roll-up doors for access to the storage area at the back of the building. And then, again, a project that's also just about to go out to bid is the Prospect Ave pedestrian safety project. This runs from along Prospect Ave from Beach Street to Essex Street. It will include a new crosswalk at Atlantic Street, which includes a high-intensity activated crosswalk or HAWK crossing device at that location. It also includes an RRFB, or a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, at Thompson Street crossing of Prospect Ave, as well as ADA ramp improvements at sidewalks. And that concludes the presentation for this evening. Any questions?
All the work, I see a lot of the roads are being torn up on the side streets, like Stanley and all those going down there. Are they all going to be repaid as part of this project?
Yeah,
And
yes. Yes, they will be.
Cut to cut, right?
Yes.
Is John Earl still on schedule for March?
John Earl is on schedule at the moment. I am anticipating an extension of time request, I've been told. The furniture won't be arriving until end of April, I believe, so that's kind of our move-in constraint, is when the furniture arrives.
Is there any way to work around that?
They can bring the other stuff from the M&M
Right,
building
that's
back
what
to
I mean,
the
that's-
building by the time they get the new
Yeah.
ones. I hope so they can find the table too,
Yeah, I think just the concern is getting out the M&M.
the table.
Use whatever they have now, so, move it all over, there, get it out of the M&M.
Right,
It's gonna
right.
come.
I get,
Find the table.
I understand the concern, My focus is construction, I guess in terms of logistics and personnel,
But they'll have a CO, like
We'll have
they'll
to-
be in there by the end of March. It would.
should be able to meet.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you have, right?
Amy, I forgot to add that I had the meeting at the Teterboro Airport, so if I could just have a couple minutes, if
Sure, go ahead.
don't mind, is that okay? All right, so we had our quarterly meeting at Teterboro Airport. As you know, I'm actively involved in trying to help encourage the use of the alternate flight path. And, we're seeing some use at night, but not much use during the day. And again, this all comes down to TRACON in New York, where the air traffic controllers are the ones that are controlling making those decisions. And, we have to try and implore, as I continue to do with the FAA, but anyone that's been following the news with the problems with the Boeing and the FAA is pretty preoccupied these days, rather than Teterboro, but we'll never give up on that. But I'm actually happy to see I have somebody here tonight from the Environmental Committee and somebody here from the Condo Board Committee, because I kind of accidentally fell into this. I received a couple of calls about the size of some of these aircraft flying. And I did some research. I called the airport and I checked on the size of the aircraft, what ones they were, and I looked at them. And I kind of fell into this, and it really aggravated me. And of course, I spoke about it at the meeting. And I think there's something maybe we could, especially if I see, Annette and Janet are sitting right next to each other, it could be even a concerted effort, because the ones really heavily hit are the folks that are living in these condos. Right? The Teterboro Airport has a rule that if you're going to fly into Teterboro Airport, your aircraft has to be 100,000 pounds or less, okay? So when I looked up these aircraft that I was getting the calls on, they have maximum weights over 100,000 pounds. Now, of course, the stripped weight, without fuel, without baggage, whatever, was under 100,000 pounds. But you start adding these other elements to it, and it goes up to like 140,000 pounds. So when I questioned them, they said, oh no, we make sure that it's under 100,000. I said, you're weighing it at Teterboro Airport? Well, they verified this. I don't believe any of this. Okay, so I questioned the whole methodology for making these decisions. Now, they'll come back and they'll say, well, you have to understand, the newer aircraft are quieter than some of the older ones. Yes, but it's a much bigger footprint than the other aircraft, so you're dispersing the sound over a greater area as well. And hey, this is your rule that we all agreed to. So now, especially, I mean, I wasn't totally aware up until a couple of years ago that, you know, we're flying in and out, we're flying to Europe out of Teterboro. So don't tell me if you're taking a plane out of Teterboro Airport and you're flying to Europe that you're not fully fueled. Don't tell me that you're gonna take that chance, okay? So if you fully fuel these, they're over 100,000 pounds. So give me a break. So I think it might be something we could team up and maybe get a petition started. Okay, something that maybe the two groups or one or the other group could work on and say, you know, this is your rule. If you look up Teterboro Airport's rules, it specifically says this. So how are we making these decisions? To me, if there's anything we can do to limit the types of aircraft that are noisy, to limit the volume, you know, and of course, if we can eliminate some of these rather large, rather heavy jets, then we're going to minimize the volume just naturally. So I think it might be a good little project for us to work on. And I have, over the 10 years I've been doing this, I've made friends in some of these other towns. I mean, a lot of people don't like to speak up at some of these meetings, and you know I like to talk, so they kind of use me for that. But I think I could get other folks to join in and sign these petitions as well. So we could use this as an effort to branch out, not only in Hackensack, but extend it even further. Because I know I've gotten some of our folks to sign some of their petitions against issues that they've had with the airport. So I'm going to throw it out, as long as the council's okay with it, maybe we can.
I've been saying that all along, that we need at least 100 people with the signs, you know,
I'll be right out there, I'll be right out there.
That's it, the only way that people are gonna listen to, I've been saying that for years.
But even if I could present some petitions with a decent number, and, you know, send it to the Port Authority too, you know, get these petitions signed, here's your rule, how are you enforcing this? You know, how are we verifying this?
The only way by now in the summertime, with the nice weather, we maybe pay some buses and get people from the high rises and other town and go over there with a number.
Well,
Over 100 people.
I think, you know, just, we'll take your word for it, that you're not fully fueled, et cetera. And it's very easy to find this information out, it's all public information, so you can just, you know, log onto the website, you can see the types of aircraft that are coming in and out. Wikipedia will tell you all this, even if you just look them up on Wikipedia, it will tell you their, you know, their basic weight with nothing, their basic weight fully fueled. You see, these numbers are very easy to obtain for the types of jets. The one I looked up just happened to be a Learjet. But it's, I was really surprised. You know, I never thought to question that they would possibly or potentially be violating our own rule or be so loose about the interpretation of the rule. So I think this is something maybe we could, to me, we have to do whatever it is we can to limit the volume of the traffic. You know, that's the second busiest, what they call small airport in the whole country.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what's, you know, flying over our hospital, over our residents, over our Fanny Hiller school. You know, it's really something that we should have had a better response to by this time, but we'll never give up, right, council members? So we're gonna keep anything else that comes up.
Kat used to work there, I used to work there like a block away from there, and the plane, they look like a 460 passengers. You know, so no question, they are over 100,000 pounds.
Yankees were using it.
There's a lot of things there of concern. I mean, the other issue I brought up, I don't know
I
if
used to
folks,
work in DCI.
if folks read about, there was a significant drug bust, I think it was in November, that, you know, the police had been tracking, and, you know, tons of drugs that were being in suitcases, and then were going overseas. And, you know, so even the whole security process, especially now that we're flying in and out of the country, who's on these, who's coming in and out of the country on these planes? And what are they bringing in and out of the country on these planes? And their answer to me was, this committee only has to do with noise. So we're not going to address your comment. But I do think that, you know, these are things that we should be concerned with. I know, I looked up, we all know the case of Jeffrey Epstein, and I think there was over 700 flights in and out of Teterboro with sex and child trafficking. So, I mean, there has to be some kind of rule or regulation for what is going on and happening at that airport in the neighborhoods where we all live, very close proximity to us in Hackensack. but again, that's an aside to the noise issue. I think if we could focus on how many of these aircraft are truly over 100,000 pounds, how many of them are flying in and out of there every day? Because I'm hearing, I think it was it yesterday? I mean, it was unbelievable how loud they were. Yeah, it was Sunday, was it Sunday? It was really, really very noisy. So, again, for what it's worth, thanks for listening, and if you guys can help out in any way, you just let me know, and I'll give you any information you want. Thanks, Vinny.
You got it.
What-
Anyone else from the public?
We didn't open it to the public.
Yeah.
I spoke.
Now we have to open to the public.
I took over.
Ms. Vinnie, are you done?
Are you done?
Yeah.
So now I need a motion to open to the public.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak, please come forward, give your name to the clerk. Seeing no members of the public, motion to close.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. All right, we'll be back at 8 o'clock.
We're not, do we have to go back into executive?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know if Steve had any.
Yeah, no, I don't particularly, I just want to add that in the closed session, we did speak about the ongoing litigation involving former Chief Cisa.
Then you can close both meetings now, so you don't have to
So
go
I
back.
could, need a motion to close the executive session?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Motion to close the council in the hall?
Offer.
Second.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay. Now we'll see everybody.